Hello everyone. Welcome back again. Prakash Narkar this side. Welcome to my YouTube channel Automation Talks. So in continuation with my last video where I spoke about the requirement where I'm gonna retrieve the credentials from AWS Secret Manager to Tricentis Tosca. Rather, Tricentis Tosca is gonna pull the credentials from AWS Secret Manager and use them into my test cases or test automation wherever it is required or necessary. So in the last video, we have created a draft structure of your, custom model, how it is going to be. So a parameter, AWS configuration, a child parameters, three child parameters that are required to establish the connection. The two required parameters. So what's the secret that I'm gonna, retrieve the value for, and the actual value or actual secret value that will be stored into this output parameter. So one thing, the second thing, what we did in the last video is setting up the project. Okay, so we have added this assembly info. We have added the references. One reference I missed in the last video, which was object, which I have added later. And then, let me rename this class. Okay, this is the code, and I'll tell you my approach of, coding this, and then probably I mean, if you need to write any special customization, something other than this, definitely you can follow that if it sounds good. Okay, so what usually I do is, let me close this solution. So I usually create a console application. So if we whatever code that I'm gonna show you now, where we add all this, Tricentis libraries and all, it is, I mean, we cannot run those directly. We can debug it, by attaching it to the process, but then we cannot, run it in the direct way, like how we run, any applications for any programming language. So what I do is, generally I create one console application project, and there I create a main method, and within that main method I generally, write all my code to test its functionality. And then, once I have the working functionality, just adding the decorators of Tricentis Tosca, the way how we are going to pull the information, the way how we are going to pass the information to the output, is very standard, right? The only thing that I need to concern over here is whether my core logic is working or not. So if you see here in the main method, I have my secret name, I have my region defined, I have my access key, secret access, which is again I have encrypted, and then I have tested my approach of writing the code. Okay, so now if I run this project, it is gonna work. Okay, if I run this console app, it is gonna work, right? So in case of any issues, or I can put a debugging here, and I can make sure that it works here. So what I do is, I make sure I have the working solution, I have the working code, and then I usually use this code into my solution. So let me close this solution now and open the one for Secret Manager. Now the Secret Manager, or whichever we are going to use it for, creating a customization Tricentis, that is going to be the class library. Right. So what I was talking about is, my main core component is how are we going to establish the communication. So how are we going to establish this communication, and then how are we going to retrieving these variables, like this kind of codes, right? How are we going to establish the connection, then retrieving the secrets. That's my core logic. Once I confirm that it is working there, then later getting these input values, and then um, getting the child values, processing them, putting them into buffer. It is like more or less the same process what we'll be doing across all the special execution tasks where the input output operations are done. Right. Now let me go to the code in a very high level and explain you what it does. So okay, so there is a class called the AWS Secret Manager task, this one, and where you see colon special execution task, or rather before that we'll start from this namespace. So namespace is a kind of used for encapsulation. So in Java, like the way how we have packages, right? Multiple package, multiple classes, right? So the code here in this case, with the help of namespace, your code is encapsulated within the namespace, whatever name we give, right? So that it ensures all your classes that we create are within the same namespace, that will have distinct scope, right? So if you see, I might have multiple classes over here. Okay, so in this case I just have one, but then I can have any number of classes within the same namespace. Okay, so the second thing is class declaration, or this one. This is basically for logging purpose, for performing the detailed login. I must have talked in my last video where, when any special execution task is getting used in your project, we should have a very detailed implementation to understand, the step-by-step instruction what has happened. That will help me probably to understand probably the root cause of my issue, where I'm missing, what I'm missing, what went wrong, right? So I should have a detailed logging, and to perform that logging, what I do is I create a list of string, and all the logging messages I usually store into that list and then push it to my output. Again, I cannot use the logging framework over here because my aim over here is to push these logs to the module output, right? So logging framework is not going to help me here. Okay, the next thing is creating this class. Okay, so I have this class secret AWS Secret Manager task, which is inheriting your special execution task. Okay, so what it does is it inherits certain methods, certain parameters, which Tosca's base class for custom execution task. So the one is execute method, so which is not implemented into this interface. We are going to provide our own implementation to this execute method. There is another one which is the validator constructor. This one, the constructor which accepts validator, which is generally used to validate your parameters, but then I generally do all those validations into my code itself, so that I can have a better logging to I can have my own customized messages. The one that you see over here, special execution task name, and then this is the special execution task name, which is basically this one. You see, special execution task, this name should be exactly same as what you are providing here, right? So it is basically it specifies the name that Tosca will use for a special execution task execution. So it's a mapping basically. So whenever that module get called, Tosca needs to understand which code should get executed. That happens with the help of special execution task name, and obviously with the help of engine. So within engine, I can have a number of special execution tasks. Okay, so logging mechanism we are done. There is a constructor that we are done. There is a the method called as execute. Okay, so as I said, this method is coming from special execution task interface, which we are going to implement on our own. All the data that we pass as input parameters gets stored into this interface type test action, the variable name test action of type I special execution test actions. Whatever data I need, I'm gonna pull it from test action. Next thing, again, I'll not go in much detail. I have already spoken in my last video. At a high level, what we are going to do is, so I want to read, all these parameters, region, access key, and secrets. I want to read the value from secret name, and I want to put my output to this output variables. Okay, so these parameter names should be exactly same referenced here. Okay, so here you see the very first thing, I'm pulling the configurations for AWS. So you see, as I said, everything will be present in test action. So if I do test action dot get parameter, it is going to return me a parameter of AWS configuration. Now within AWS configurations, I have a child parameter, which is my region, access key, secret access. So you see, from this config parameter, which is basically AWS configuration, I am pulling region, access key, secret access, right? And then my secret name input, I'm pulling it with the help of test action and the actual name of my parameter, which is secret name. Then again, I have some error handling, just to make sure that my error messages are meaningful and I understand out of those. Now the parameters that I read with the help of either get parameter or get child parameter or get parameter as input value will be of type I parameter if it is parameter, or if it has an input value, it is going to be of I input value, which is internal to Tricentis. In order to read the actual value from them, a string value, I should be doing dot value method. I should be calling dot value method on top of that, so that I'll get the actual strings. Okay, so now I assume that I get my secret name, region, access key, and secret access, and then I'm again doing some validation. If it is null or empty, probably, we are gonna throw some, message and all the stuff. But then here at a high level, now we are gonna establish the connection with the help of basic credential. So there is a class called as basic credentials, basic AWS credentials, where we establish the connection with the help of access key and secret key, and then we create the object of Amazon Secret Manager client by using the AWS credentials region endpoint. The region basically what I use, right? uh, Now once the connection is established with the help of this secret manager client, and this will take care of two things basically, which I mean this wouldn't have been necessary because anyway I'm gonna pass it. But then if it is already configured on your system, then environment variables, then this method is gonna pull it. Okay, so I'm assuming that okay, the connection is established, and the connection is present in this secret manager client. Now I have written this method get secret value. Let me jump to this, okay, which is again in the same class. Okay, so this method accepts my secret manager client connection that I have created and the secret name, and it basically return me a response. And this response, okay, so this particular response that I get over here, I'm gonna use it again. This is like the standard method that is defined in AWS SDK, AWS Secret Manager SDK. The response that I get out of this secret manager client.get secret value saying this particular response I'm gonna use to retrieve the actual secret. Okay, so where it is? Yeah, so here I got the response. Okay, so this was the line where I'm calling that method. So I get this response. Now from this response, again I'm doing some validations, which is self-understood. Now from this response, I'm gonna get the secret string, which is going to be my actual secret value. And then at the end, you see what I'm gonna do is I want to put it into a buffer to the output variable, right? Output parameter or output attribute, right? So what I'm gonna do is I created the I parameter test action dot get parameter output. Then if it is buffer, then I'm gonna set its value. So you see buffers, which is a class where we have all these methods for buffers get the current instance of the buffers, set the buffer value for this particular parameter, which is your output with actual secret value. Okay, so this particular line is basically responsible to set the buffer value. Okay, and then obviously we are gonna set the action result to true, and then if it is not, then okay, so here you see we are gonna set it the action result to success. If it is not, then we throw it as unknown failed action result. Okay, so this is pretty much a very simple code, not too much complex logic. So I did not explain each and every line because most of that was handling these error conditions just to make sure that we have proper logging, and added all these logging conditions. Okay, now I have done with all my coding. So in the earlier special execution task that we developed, what we did is we created a .cs file, and then that .cs file we attached to the model. In this case, what I'm gonna do is I'll build the solution. Okay, I'm gonna build the solution. So what I mean by build the solution is basically package the solution into a DLL file, or to create a DLL file out of this code. Okay, so you see here the solution, or the solution is built and it has created this DLL file. Now this particular DLL file we should be putting into the tbox home folder. Let me go to this. Okay, so you see in this particular folder, this is the DLL, AWS Secret Manager get secret. And now this particular DLL file, what I'm gonna do is, okay, not only this DLL file, but then all the DLL file that I'm referencing. So here the DLL files that I'm referencing to this particular solution is uh, AWS S3 DLL. Sorry, I don't need S3 DLL. I'm putting this. I don't need this S3 DLL, but then I would be needing the other DLL, which is Secret Manager. Let me put the Secret Manager DLL there. Okay. So we are referencing Secret Manager DLL, we are referring the core DLL, and then we are gonna put the DLL that is generated out of this solution, which is AWS Secret Manager DLL. I'm gonna put this DLL, Control C, and obviously I should be putting this AWS Secret Manager DLL as well into my tbox home folder. So what I'll do is I'll go to my this PC, I'll go to program files 86, a Tricentis folder. I'll go to TOSCA test suite, tbox, and this is the folder where I'll be putting the file. Now you see the file is already existing because I already tried this solution, but then I'm just gonna replace these two files. Okay, let me close my TOSCA, and obviously I would be needing to close. Okay, let me check in. That's fine. I should be closing my Visual Studio as well. Okay, so both the files are copied, and obviously this AWS SDK core you already see here. Okay, so now I have all my DLL files that are copied. Let me relaunch my Tosca. We need to make sure that every time we change the customization, update the customization, recompile the customization, make any changes to the customization, we should be restarting Tosca Commander, because in Tosca the file will get loaded at the time of launching the Tosca. Okay, so this is my module which I'm gonna use for execution. So in this module, because I have already copied the DLL into the tbox folder, I don't need to attach the .cs file to this custom module. So there are basically two ways: attach the .cs file or put the customization DLL into your tbox folder. It depends on which one you prefer. To my personal choice preference is going to be always attaching this .cs file, because I have better control, and I have my code with me to take a look at it, or to make further changes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, let me check out this folder. Let me drag and drop this module to say I'm creating a new test. Get secrets. Okay, so in order to get the secrets, the very first thing, as I said, my secrets are for this particular AWS account, which is my AWS account. Okay, now to this AWS account, we should be establishing the connectivity. To establish the connectivity, I need the region, access key, and secret access. Okay, so for me, the region is EU North 1. Okay, my access key is this. Okay, and let me get the secret access key. Okay, so I have got my secret access key configured here. The secret name, which basically I'll copy it from here. So my secret name is this one. So the secret name, you can just say like, it's a reference for which, the output value to be retrieved, or each credentials that you're going to store, it has some name, right? So that's the name of the credentials basically. So this is my secret name. Okay, and then the secret output is basically the buffer name to which you want to store it. So say I'm just gonna say it as, let's say, password from AWS Secret Manager. This is not a right practice to have this lengthy buffer name, but then just to make it more meaningful, okay, so something is failing here. Let's see what has happened. It is telling error. Okay, and if you see a very clear logging, uh, the error is, it says invalid name must be a valid name containing only alphanumeric character. Okay, so it is basically the name that we are passing is wrong. Okay, there is a space before, and that's the reason it is not treating it as a valid secret name. Let me rerun it. When I copied, I got the space. Yeah, now it is success. Yeah, now it is success. And if you see, the output buffer is created and it is stored with the value. It's a secret value. Basically, that's the name that I put. I didn't configure the secret variable along with this message. But then if I go to buffer viewer, okay, so you see, it has read the value from my secret manager. That's the same value, you see, RE5, and that is what I see at that RE5. So this is the way how I can retrieve the value from AWS Secret Manager into TOSCA. Okay, so another improvements that can be done, on this type of on this customization is with the latest TOSCA versions. You see one message over here: buffers of type passwords are not shown here. Ideally, if I'm retrieving any passwords or secrets, it's good. We should not be seeing that value into the message that we see. So whatever message that we have seen here, uh, I'm not putting that actual secret over here. Along with this, I should also make the improvement to make sure that the value is not shown on this buffer viewer. And how can we not get it here if I'm making its type as password? In this particular customization, I didn't do it purposefully because I wanted to show the actual value. But then with a little customizations, when I pass it to the buffer, I should be able to set its data type to password, and that is how it will restrict it displaying from here. Yeah, I think that is pretty much as a part of this video where I spoke about how can we retrieve the secrets from AWS Secret Manager. The similar customization can be extended to uh, any type of secret manager. It is just that you need to download its respective DLL. Say you use Azure Key Vault, you have to download its SDK DLL. The 80% logic is gonna same. Just the way how you're gonna connect to your Key Vault is going to be different. Rest all other your logic is going to be same. Okay. Along with this, I already have this solution uploaded to my GitHub repository. Okay, so yeah, so this is the one, Secret Manager. And here I already have written a very detailed user guide how we are going to use it. And I should be putting the DLL file attachments as well. Okay, so by the time you see this video, you will see a link to download the actual DLL file, actual special execution task module, the custom module. You can simply go ahead, download, and then reuse, just the way how I have done into this S3 bucket configuration, where I have this link where you can download the zip file, extract it, and reuse it. Okay, so yeah, I think that is pretty much as a part of this video. I hope you guys find it useful. If you Make sure that you like it, subscribe to my channel, and feel free to, comment. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll see what best I can help. Okay, great. Thanks for watching the video. Bye.